1075 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests.
We got John Summerall, head football coach of Florida. First year at Florida. One of the guys who has a new job, six coaching changes. Let's put it like that in the Southeastern Conference for this season. Of course, Lane Kiffin going to Ole Miss, Pete Golding being elevated from defensive coordinator to head coach of the Rebels. You've got Alex Golesh at Auburn, Ryan Silverfield at Arkansas. You can't forget that one. Will Stein is at Kentucky. But Summerall, he was what I call the coach du jour. He was the guy whose name was tossed around that everybody coveted, except LSU, who got who they wanted in Lane Kiffin. But he was the name being tossed around, the hot up-and-comer, the next best thing. Everybody wants him. Alabama native who played at Kentucky. Kentucky wanted him. They didn't get him. Auburn wanted him. It didn't work out there either, and he's from Alabama. But Florida was able to seal the deal. Even though the path that he has taken is very similar to the guy he's replacing, Billy Napier. Fabulous G6 success, didn't work out in the SEC. By the way, Billy Napier now at James Madison. I'm going to be fascinated to see if he can cook or not, going back down to that level. Only 15,000 fewer tickets were scanned at Williams-Brice Stadium this past year as compared to 2024 during that magical 9-win season. But that wouldn't be enough to account for $1 million less in alcohol sales at Williams-Brice. That's how much, $1 million less in booze. Nearly $1.5 million down in women's basketball, men's basketball. You make of that what you will. So it seems to me that people are more willing to leave the game. They say, oh, man, we're cooked. Let's get out of here. And then go down the road and drink somewhere else. The Football Coaches Association basically rubber stamping an expanded playoff, saying that's what they want. They voted, here's what they voted on, and it was the board. It wasn't all the coaches, but it was the board. They want to slash conference championship games. Okay, let's take these line item, by the way. That's a bummer. I love the SEC championship game. I love it. And it was so groundbreaking when that thing happened. Roy Kramer. Spoke to Roy Kramer a few years ago, and you could tell that was his proudest accomplishment, his most beloved achievement, creating the conference championship game. And it proved to be a boon in so many ways for the Southeastern Conference, obviously financially. Having that extra game, having a captive audience, network deal, ticket sales, merchandise, incredible revenue stream. But also perception-wise, it changed the way everybody looked at the SEC because they're so big, they have their own conference championship game. Wow, that is a big deal. They've got their own television window. Wow. And, of course, other conferences followed, albeit reluctantly. Took the ACC a good decade. But I hate to see it go away. Now, I get why it's going away because it's become almost redundant. Going back to what we preached earlier, the college football playoff is the end-all, be-all. Got to get in the playoff. Got to make the playoff. We don't hear people talk about championships, though. Got to win a championship. Getting in the playoff is great. For some programs, it's transformative. It's the moment that will catapult them potentially to greatness. Think of Indiana. Maybe not the best example, but I think a good example. Indiana made the playoff 2 years ago. Seminal moment in the history of Hoosiers football. Did it work out? No, not that season. got curb stomped by Notre Dame in the snow. But you could tell that they had wrenched momentum from that, and that carried them to everything they accomplished last year, winning a national championship. One of the most incredible stories, and I'll put it out there, in the history of sports. It really is. You have a program that has done absolutely nothing for about a century to now being atop the mountain. I have seen coaching lists, and again, lists are lists. Make of them what you will. But I have seen lists by respected journalists, purveyors of college football for decades, who have their coach rankings, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see some of the usual suspects up there, Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, and they'll have Curt Cignetti number 1. And my first thought is, well, they're prisoners of the moment. Well, that's a knee-jerk reaction. But then I think about it, and I go, I can't say they're wrong. What he's done is amazing. And the argument will be, the rub to it will be, well, Indiana has more donors and blah, blah, this alumni base, and Mark Cuban, and blah. So, he made the system work. Isn't that part of the whole deal? Figuring out how to make it work? He's not breaking any rules, we presume. He's not breaking any laws, we presume. But he's adhering to the structure that is in existence, and he's making it work at a place where it has never worked. And the result is mind-blowing. Indiana winning a national championship. And it's given hope to everyone. If anything, the number one thing that we can extrapolate from the experiment that has been Indiana football, and make no mistake about it, it is an experiment. Nobody wanted Curt Cignetti until he was 64 years old and had never been a head coach at the Power 4 level. But if there's anything that we can gather from that experiment, it is that anybody can do anything if they have all the pieces to the formula, and it's not just being a big brand of blue blood.